everybody. Hey, first of all, I want to start out with a giant shout out to our class of 2021. This is their official last week of school. I can't believe it. It is crazy that this whole year has been virtual, and it's been great to see several of their faces, and sometimes in little Zoom boxes and sometimes up close. But nonetheless, we get to see them in person for graduation on May 27th, which is sadly limited to only 2 tickets. That's a Prince George's County public school policy. But graduation is still happening, and you can join them virtually for the Senior Awards Ceremony, which is happening Wednesday at 9:45. And I'm going to put this slide in my Google Classroom so you can find the link. You also should be able to leave advisory and go and see the Senior Awards Ceremony. Hear what's happening with our amazing seniors. Hear what's going on with them. Hear about some of the adventures ahead of them and some of the great things that they've done to get them to the successful and awesome place. It has not always been easy, but they have done it. They are truly resilient. We're truly sad that you'll be leaving us. So, all that said, let me move on to a couple other things I have. Remember, it is free and available if you are 16 or older to get a COVID vaccine, should you choose to get one. Please know you can just Google COVID vaccine, Prince George's County, and there are many places that have them for free. Walgreens, some Walmarts, some of the Targets, CVS. There's also places like the Greenbelt Metro, where you can actually go through this giant tent room and walk in, no appointment, and get your first vaccine and go back for your second. So something to think about. Secondly, what I need from you is to make sure you've checked out my Google Classroom. And there's 2 things in there. There is a survey. I jumped to number 2. Sorry, guys. Number 2, it says complete. I'm going to move my picture. Can I move it? Can I move it? No, I can't. Okay. Complete the mastery survey. I want to know what you thought about last week's Mastery Week. Did it help you? Did you see your grades improve? Take a few moments and complete that survey. 2 lucky winners who complete it. 2 people who complete it will be drawn. Their name will be drawn, and they could win a Starbucks card. Woohoo! Great gift if you're not a fan yourself. If you're a fan, there you go. Secondly, you need to make sure, 1, you finished way back when on February 12th, there was a Google writing assignment from your advisor. Your advisor has that and can give that to you if you have not done it. Knock it out. And if you've done it, you're going to see your score very soon. Lastly, this is the week of Ramadan, and it's coming to an end. It's been the month of Ramadan. And Ramadan is a stretch of time in which many of our Muslim students are fasting and praying more than usual. They're always praying, but praying a little bit more than often. And this Thursday is the end of that month, and there is no school. So please note, no school on Thursday. And if you are fasting, we wish you a safe, happy fast for the last few days. And that's all we've got. Hello.
Hello. Sorry.
And that's all I have for you. So happy week, and we'll see you tomorrow at the senior assembly and Friday back in school. Bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Medina Ghazi, a member of SGA. What is SGA? SGA stands for Student Government Association. It's a leadership class. SGA has so many benefits such as leadership experience, class credit because it's a class, speaking experience, participated in county-wide speaking competition, last but not least, cool elective that looks good on your resume for college. Now Roybin, another member of SGA, will explain what to do.
Hello, Roybin here. So, if you are asking yourself how can you join SGA, I got the information for you. This is all you have to do. It is very simple. All you have to do is email Dr. Grant by Wednesday, May 12th by 4:30 p.m. letting him know you are interested, and he will give you more information. It is simple, as I said. Just email troy.grant@pgcps.org and write, I am interested in SGA, and he will email you back. Simple, right? So email him now so you won't forget. But you have until Wednesday, May 12th by 4:30 p.m. Once again, Troy.Grant at PGCPS, and let Dr. Grant know you are interested in SGA. Thank you for listening. God bless.
Episode where the neighbors, from Laos, he's Laotian. Hank Hill's like, so are you Chinese or are you Japanese, right? And then the guy's like, no, I'm from Laos. It's a Southeast Asian country. And then in the end, he's like, okay. He's like, so are you Chinese or are you Japanese, right?
Every time I meet somebody new, the question always comes up, where are you from? And I always want to say Minnesota, but you know what they mean.
I was at a bar and someone asked me my name and I said Rachel. And then they said, okay, but what's your real name?
Chinese are not the same as Japanese, are not the same as Koreans, are not the same as Filipinos or Thai or, Indians.
And not every single Asian person gets into college. Not every single Asian person goes to a great school. Not every single person has, a great job.
I can still be Japanese American and know that part of myself and know that history. But it's also okay to still identify as a gangly little suburban kid. And I'm fine with that.
I remember seeing Wayne's World growing up, and I was like, oh, Tia Carrere, she's Filipino, Hawaiian Filipino. And they're like, no, she's playing Cantonese. And I was like, oh, we don't even get to be ourselves. We don't even get to be who we are. We have to play at something else.
Most times in high school or places like this, you don't really have an outlet where you can talk about these Asian American issues. Even in the workplace, you need Asian American mentors who experience the bamboo ceiling, something that happens in corporate America. So most times if you actually look at it, you'll see that a lot of Asian Americans, for instance, they're in middle management or they're in engineering, but you don't really see them in high CEO roles. And the reason being is oftentimes our culture, for instance, my mom always tells me, don't ask for a raise. Keep your head down. When you do your work, your boss will basically, see that you're doing well and he'll give you a raise. But in America, it's not like that. America's the squeakiest wheel gets the oil, right?
People sometimes say that, Nobuko, just forget about Japaneseness. Just open up yourself more and be more expressive and be more upfront and straightforward.
That goes back to the stereotype of no one talks about Asians because Asians don't speak up.
My parents didn't want me to learn the language. They thought that if I were to learn Tagalog at home, that I would have an accent and I would have the struggles that they had because they were shamed for having thick accents when they first immigrated to the US. I think I struggle with it even now, that talking to my parents, I think they do regret those moments of wanting something different for me. I have two younger sisters who are 10 and 8, and I really feel it's my responsibility to help them come to terms with the identity crisis I know they're going through and bridging the gap between the American culture that they deal with at school and the Asian culture they deal with at home.
There is just so much beauty in the distinction and different cultures out there that I think it would be to everyone's advantage to learn more about all the different places we come from.
I love seeing that these communities are asking for representation because it's so important to me. And I think my ownership is getting to be a part of that.
And even celebrate the fact that it's so cool to be different, to have something to offer that someone else may not, and to exchange ideas rather than just try to be the same idea. I think that concept is it frees you so much. There's so much freedom in that.
Next week, billions, if not trillions, of tiny invaders will begin their assault on nearly all of the country east of the Mississippi River. They've been laying in wait for 17 years until the time and temperature is right to begin their deafening descent upon millions of Americans. Meteorologist and CBS News climate specialist Jeff Beardelli is here with the story. Jeff, good morning.
Good morning again. We are talking about Brood 10 cicadas. Think about where you were and what you were doing back in 2004, because these insects have been underground that whole time. And while plenty has changed in our society, these cicadas are undergoing a transformation because of climate change.
Close your doors! Inside! Please listen to
Films about invading insects have been scaring moviegoers for decades. But now a real-life insect invasion of what are called periodical cicadas will put Hollywood to shame by its sheer size and scope. There are over a dozen known broods of cicadas in the U.S., categorized by when they emerge together from the ground. This one, brood 10, is considered one of the largest and makes its appearance like clockwork every 17 years.
I think it's a pretty big event. I mean, we're talking about trillions of cicadas that are going to be emerging, singing, calling, finding mates in your backyard.
Dr. Jessica Ware is bugging out with excitement.
These are the brood 10.
She's an entomologist at the American Museum of Natural History in New York. She says over the next few weeks along the East Coast and Midwest, the cicadas will emerge from the ground, shed their skins, and partake in a month-long mating ritual, making quite the scene, climbing trees and singing mating songs as loud as 100 decibels. That's the same intensity as a jackhammer.
How do they know after 17 years when exactly they should emerge?
It's not that the cicadas know anything per se. I think part of it is hardwired. So there's a series of biochemical cascades, hormones that rise and fall that set up a trigger. And if you have a certain hormone level and the temperature of the soil is 64 degrees, it's go time.
And once these cicadas do emerge, time is not on their side.
They're on a short clock, right? So they've got, 3 or 4 weeks to get the jobs done. They need to find a mate. They need to do the actual mating. Females need to lay the eggs, and then death occurs.
So if you're a cicada, this is a really exciting time then.
Yeah, if you spend your entire juvenile stage, 17 years underground, and then you've got 3 or 4 weeks to do all the jobs.
What's exciting for cicadas may be frightening for some of us humans, but Ware says not to worry, they don't bite or sting.
They actually pose no harm to humans, and they don't really even pose that much harm to your garden. Their goal really is to find each other, to mate, and then to make the next generation of cicadas.
And even though they don't pose a threat to us, humans do pose a threat to them. Urban sprawl and overdevelopment have destroyed whole cicada populations. And because of our warming climate, periodical cicadas are emerging anywhere from a week to a month earlier than they did just decades ago. Ware says it may even shorten the amount of years they stay underground. But on a more positive note, these cicadas will become a feast for many of nature's other creatures, even some brave humans.
I understand you eat cicadas?
They're a great protein source, I'm excited to eat some cicadas. I think this is a beautiful bounty, a cornucopia, a food source.
Okay, with dipping sauces or without dipping sauces?
I'm a sophisticated lady, so I would go with a rosemary garlic aioli.
All right. So, listen, the museum is having a big cicada saute. And I know that you guys probably are too busy. They're doing it in a week or so. So I brought a feast for you guys.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I
No, you
did.
didn't.
Brian, bring it on in.
No shot.
Yup.
Yes.
What do you think?
No shot.
Do it.
Not happening.
$10 to the first person who eats
Not
the cicadas.
happening.
Oh.
I was like, not happening. Well played.